Today I am going to discuss about concept of social stratification and social mobility. First of all, I will discuss about the introduction of social mobility and social stratification, key features of social stratification, types of stratification, theories of social stratification, factors influencing social stratification, impacts of social stratification, examples from society, challenges and criticism, final thoughts, what is social mobility, types of social mobility, factor influencing social mobility, challenges in achieving social mobility, and conclusion. If we see, social stratification refers to the division of society into hierarchical layers based on factors like wealth, prestige, privileges, power, and social status. The most prominent example will come, that is rich versus poor or caste hierarchies. If we see the Indian society, caste hierarchy is the most prominent example of social stratification. And if we see the importance, it helps us to understand societal inequalities and dynamics of social interactions. Key features of social stratification. First of all, I will discuss about the hierarchy. Why hierarchy is important in social stratification as a key features. Social hierarchy means it refers to the arrangement of individual or groups within a society in a rank order based on various factors such as power, wealth, occupation, prestige, ethnicity, education, or social status. Second important key features of social stratification is inequality. It refers to the unequal distribution of resources, opportunities, rights and privileges among individuals or groups within a society. It can manifest across various dimensions including wealth, education, healthcare, political power and social status. Third most important key feature of social stratification is universality. It refers to the quality or state of being applicable or relevant to all people, things or situations without exception. It emphasizes commonality and inclusiveness, transcending specific cultural, geographical or individual boundaries. The most important key feature is social differentiation. It refers to the process by which individual or groups in a society become distinct and are categorized based on specific characteristics such as roles, status, abilities or attributes. This differentiation creates diversity within a society and is often a precursor to the development of social hierarchies. Types of stratification. The most important in Indian context is caste system. Caste system, it is deep rooted in our Indian context. What is caste? What is caste system? The caste system is a social stratification system that originated in ancient India. It divides people into hierarchical groups based on their occupation, social status and inherited family lineage. The system has deep roots in Hinduism, but also influence other religious and cultural practice in India. Is there any key features of the caste system? Definitely there are important features in the caste system. If we would like to understand the caste system in a better way, we must go through with the key features of the caste system. And the most important features of caste system is Varna system. There are 4 main Varna in the caste system, and the 4 Varna means the first category will come, that is Brahmin. Brahmin means priest, scholars and teachers who are considered the highest caste, and They are the connector between God and the people, and they are very much assigned with the duty of worships, education, and the duties and responsibilities very much connected with the knowledge. So they belong in the highest position in the society. And the second important category is Kshatriya. That means Kshatriyas are very much connected with the wars. They are warriors, rulers, administrators, responsible for protection and governance. If we see the Indian heritage and Indian culture, definitely you will see these differences. And the third one is Vaishyas. Vaishyas means they are merchants, traders, farmers, and responsible for commerce and agriculture. And the fourth one is Shudras. Shudras means they are laborers and service providers serving the upper castes. And the fifth category are attached nowadays, and they are the untouchables, and they are the Dalits. So outside the four burners, Dalit were historically marginalized and subjected to severe discrimination, and they were often assigned impure work such as cleaning, handling waste, or working with leather. And although the practice of untouchability is illegal today, but discrimination persists in some areas. Still you will see the untouchability practices and discrimination in different parts of our India. So this is all about the key features of the caste systems, and the most important types of stratification is class system. What is class system? The class system is a form of social stratification based on economic status, occupation, education, and lifestyle. Unlike the caste system, which is often inherited and rigid, the class system allows for more mobility between classes. Though the degree of mobility can vary depending on society, the class system is more commonly associated with the Western societies, but exist in many forms across the world. So if we make the distinction between caste system and class system, we can say that caste system is very much connected and deeply rooted with the Indian social hierarchy and Indian social system, and the class system is very much connected and very much associated with the European society. So the class system is form of social stratification still exists in the society, and if we want to understand it in a better way, definitely like caste system, we must follow the key features of the class system. So the most important thing in the social stratification, that is based on economic factors, and in economic factors, that means the class system, people's positions are often determined by wealth, income, and occupation rather than the inherited status. If we compare it with the caste system, it was deeply connected and with the ascribed status, but we can say that class system is very much connected and very much associated with the achieved status. So economic base forms of the foundation of the social structure. And now I would like to say about the class categories. To understand the class system, class categories is most important. While the specific categories can vary, most class systems broadly divide society into the following classes. What are the classes? The first one is upper class, and the second one is middle class, third one is working class, and the last one is lower classes. What is upper class? The wealthiest individuals in society, often possessing significant power and influence. They typically own the large amounts of capital, land, business, investments, and enjoy privileges such as elite education and social connections. And the middle class, this group includes professionals, business owners, and educated workers who earn a comfortable income but do not possess the immense wealth of the upper class. The middle class is often divided into upper middle class, high income professionals, and lower middle class, clerks, teachers, and skilled workers. And if we see the working class, that means proletariat. This term was given by Karl Marx. The working class means individuals who perform manual labor, work in factories or have lower paying jobs. This class generally has less control over economic and social resources and is more dependent on wages. And the lower class and poverty class, that means the people, those who are getting the low paying, unstable jobs or maybe unemployed. It is also sometimes referred to as underclass, which may face higher rates of social exclusion, poverty and limited access to resources. And the most important type of stratification is state system. State system is a form of social stratification that was common in medieval Europe and some other societies. It is a hierarchical system of social classification that is often based on land ownership, legal rights and duties. The state system divides people into different states such as specific privileges and responsibilities. Unlike the caste and class systems, which are more fluid, the state system is usually more rigid and determined by birth and law. So, we can say that there is a similarity between caste system and the state system. Let us see the key features of the state system. That there are three main states. The first one is first state, that is clergy, and the second state, that is nobility, and the third state is commoners or the peasants. So, the first state, clergy, that means this state consists of the religious leaders including priests, bishops, monks and nuns, and members of the clergy had significant power both spirituality and in politics. In medieval society, the church owned vast amounts of land and wealth and land influence over kings and common people. And the second one is nobility. That means the nobility consists of landowners, aristocrats, knights and the lords who held political and military power. They governed large territories, controlled agricultural production and were exempt from many taxes. Nobles often held hereditary titles and were granted land by the monarch in exchange for military service and loyalty. And the third one is the commoners and or peasants. The third state was the largest and consisted of peasants, artisans, merchants and laborers. And commoners were subject to heavy taxes and had few rights. The majority were peasants who worked the land of the nobles in exchange for protection and the right to farm. So, all these are the most important key features of the state systems. And the last one is the status system. And what is status system? Status system refers to a social structure that organizes people based on their perceived social position, reputation and honor rather than their wealth, occupation or legal rights. And unlike the caste, class or status systems which are most focused on material factors like wealth or land ownership, the status system is primarily concerned with the social prestige and respect that individuals or groups command with a community. The status system can overlap with other forms of social stratification such as class or caste, but it emphasizes social distinctions that are not always directly tied to economic resources. So, all these are the most important types of stratification. Now, let us discuss about the theories of social stratification. There are so many theories in social stratification. Just I have taken few most important theories. The first one is functionalist perspective and the second one is conflict perspective and the third one is Weberian perspectives. To understand the social stratification, theoretical background is most important to know, and in this aspect there are few theories have been selected for this discussion, and the first one is functionalist perspective and the second one is conflict perspective and the third one is Weberian perspective. So, let us discuss about the functionalist perspective. The functionalist perspective in sociology is a theoretical framework that views society as a complex system made up of various institutions and structures, each with a specific functions that contributes to the stability and functioning of whole society. That means this perspective emphasizes the interdependence of these parts and how they work together to maintain social order and cohesion. Therefore, functionalism is often associated with the works of Emil Durkheim and Telkert persons who are considered foundational figures in the development of this perspective. And the conflict perspective in sociology is a theoretical framework that emphasizes the role of power, inequality and conflict in shaping social structures and relationships. Unlike the functionalist perspective, which focuses on stability and consensus, the conflict perspective views society as a being characterized by struggles between different groups such as social classes, ethnic groups, genders or social and other marginal communities who have conflicting interests and unequal access to resource and power. In this context, the conflict perspective is rooted in the ideas of Karl Marx, who saw society primarily in terms of class struggle between the bourgeois, that means capitalist class, and the proletariat, that means working class. And sometimes the terms used by Marx, that was haves and have-nots, that means haves those who are the capitalist class and have-nots those who are the working class. And sometimes the bourgeois and proletariat both are the class and they are very much different in their social position. That means this approach, if we would like to understand, then to understand the class conflict, the idea was given by Karl Marx is most important. And in this conflict perspective, the most important approach has been developed and extended by many theorists like including Marx, Max Weber, Karl Marx and Rolf Dendorf and C. Wright Mills. And the most important perspective in the functionalist in the social stratification, that is Weberian perspective. So, in sociology, based on the idea of Max Weber, offers a comprehensive approach to understanding social stratification, authority and social action. Weber's ideas focus on the complexities of social structures and the ways in which individuals, groups and institutions interact within these structures. His perspective builds on the foundations laid by Karl Marx, but also emphasizes elements like status, power and authority, which are the key to understand social dynamics. So, if we see, definitely we will get differences between Karl Marx and the Max Weber. Karl Marx was very much confined within the class hierarchy that was given by him, that proletariat and bourgeois. But Marx was influenced by the theory of Karl Marx, but he is not like Karl Marx in his theory. If we would like to understand the Weber, definitely status, power and authority is most important here. So, Weber's sociological theory provides a broader lens for analyzing society, moving beyond purely economic factors to consider the roles of cultures, politics, individual behavior. He introduced several key concepts including the Protestant ethic, rationalization and social action, which remain influential in contemporary sociology. So, along with this, just I would like to move on the next most important factors influences the social stratification. So, let us discuss about the factors that influences the social stratification, and the number one is wealth and income. Wealth and income, you know, it is most important to understand the social hierarchy and social stratification. So, wealth and income are related concepts in economics and sociology, but they represent distinct aspects of financial well-being and social status. So, what does the wealth? The wealth refers to the total value of all assets owned by an individual, household or entity, and minus and liabilities or debts. It is a stock measures reflecting accumulated resources over time. So, components of wealth, if we see, the definitely assets will come, that means tangible assets, if we see the real estate, vehicles, jewelry, etc., and the financial, that means stock, bonds, savings, retirement accounts, all these are the intangible assets. And liabilities, that means mortgage, loans, credit card, debit card, etc., are the liabilities. And the most important thing is represents in long term financial stability and insecurity, and can be inherited or accumulated over time through savings, investments, or property ownership. And wealth often generates additional income, that is interest and dividends and rent. And if we see the distribution in wealth, definitely we will see the wealth inequality tends to be more pronounced than income inequality, and wealth is often concentrated among a small percentage of the population. And if we see the example, it will be more clear. That means a person owning a house worth is 5 lakh or car 7 lakh, that may be the most prominent example of the wealth distribution. And if we see the income, that income refers to the flow of money received by an individual or household over a specific period, typically from wages, salaries, business profits, investments, or government benefits. It is a flow measure representing resources gained over time. So, is there any type of income or is there any variation in income? Definitely, if we see the types of income, we will see that earned income, passive income, and the transfer income. And is there any key features in the income? The features, that means income is used for daily expenses and consumption, and higher income often enables individuals to save and accumulate wealth, and income is typically taxed with progressive systems imposing higher rates on higher earners. Most important aspects in the influencing factor of social stratification is the power. If we would like to influencing factors, then we have to understand about the power. What is power? Power basically may in different forms, and the power may be legitimate power, that means derives from a formal position or role within an organization or society. Example, if we see the example, definitely a CEO, a judge, or elected officials, and they come from the formal position. And if we see the reward power, we will see that based on the ability to provide rewards or benefits. For example, a manager offering promotions or bonuses. And if we see the coercive power, definitely we will see the stems from the ability to impose punishments or consequences. For example, a teacher disciplining the students, or a government enforces law to maintain the law and order. And if we see the expert power, definitely it is connected with the knowledge, skills, and expertise. For example, a doctor, a engineer, or a scientist being trusted for their advice. And power may be in different form, like referent power, that means it is based on charisma, admiration, or personal appeal. For example, a celebrity influencing fans or leaders inspiring followers. There are few dimensions of power, like personal versus institutional power, overt versus covert power, and hard versus soft power. And along with this, the most important another influencing factor is the prestige. What is prestige? Prestige refers to the respect, admiration, or high status that an individual, group, or entity holds in the eyes of others within a society. That means it is often tied to achievements, qualities, positions, or social roles that are considered valuable or admirable by cultural or societal standards. Is there any key features of this prestige? Definitely we will get few features like basis of prestige, that means personal attributes, achievements, social roles, positions, cultural significance, all these are the basis of the prestige. And social recognition, that means prestige is socially conferred and depends on the perception of others, and it may be in non-material nature, that means unlike wealth, prestige is tangible, rooted in reputation and respect rather than material assets. And the last important key influencing features is education. So, we all know the role of education as an influencing factor in social dynamics and social stratification, and education definitely is a process of acquiring knowledge, skills, values and beliefs and habits through teaching, training, research or self-learning. It plays a fundamental role in personal development, socialization and the advancement of society. Education can take maybe informal or non-formal forms and occurs throughout the life. So, all these are the most key influencing factors in social stratification. Now, I will discuss about the impacts of social stratification. Is there any impact of social stratification in the society? Definitely, we will see different kinds of impacts are there because of social stratification. The most important impact is social mobility. Then let us tell about what is social mobility. Social mobility refers to the eligibility of individuals, families or groups to move within or between social strata in a society. It indicates changes in social status relative to one's current social position or that of previous generations. Social mobility is often associated with changes in wealth, education, occupation or prestige. And the next one is class conflict. If we would like to see the impact of social stratification, definitely class conflict will help us to understand this social dynamics. What is class conflict? Class conflict refers to the struggle between different social classes with opposing interest, particularly between the working class, that means proletariat, and the owning or capitalist class, that means bourgeois. This concept is central to the theory of Marxism and highlights how power, resources and the wealth are distributed unequally within the society. According to Karl Marx, class conflict is the driving force behind social change and historical development. So, last one is the inequality, and now I am not going to discuss the inequality because already I have given brief discussion about this social inequality as a impact of social stratification. And now let us discuss about the example from society. And if we see the historical example, definitely the feudal Europe and will come, and India's will come as a caste system. And if we see the example from the modern society, definitely the gender pay gap and racial inequality definitely may be the most prominent example of the social stratification in the modern society context. And is there any challenges and criticism because of social stratification? Definitely challenges are there. And if we see our Indian context, definitely the Indian society is very much rigid and restriction is mobility is very much restricted here. People cannot, even after getting their education, cannot change their social status and social position because of the rigid caste system. And you will see across the India that still exploitation and discrimination and oppressions are because of the caste system and the caste hierarchy, and definitely criticism of theories. We can say that functionalism always ignores the inequality. So, Marxism may be oversimplify. So, all these are the most important criticisms in this discussion. So, the final thoughts, if we see, the social stratification is a universal multifaceted phenomenon, and if we see the importance, definitely recognizing the addressing stratification can reduce the inequality. And so, what to do in this context? Promote equality through education, policies and awareness are the most important thing. And if we see the Indian constitution, we will see that in India is a diverse country. So, constitution already promoted the idea of the democracy, socialism and the secularism. So, this is the spirit for the Indian society to eliminate the social stratification and to understand the social dynamics of India. Just I am at the end of discussion. So, the end of this discussion, I would like to make a summary of this discussion. That means social stratification, social mobility. If we see the key concepts that shape the structure and dynamics of society, And social stratification divides individuals into hierarchical layers, and if we see the social mobility on the other hand represents the potential for individuals to move within or between these strata. It reflects the fluidity of a society and its capacity for equity and inclusion. So therefore, to address these challenges, fostering inclusive policies, equitable education and accessible economic opportunity is essential. By reducing structural barriers and promoting fairness, societies can enhance mobility and mitigate the adverse effects of social stratification. Ultimately, a balanced approach to stratification and mobility is crucial for creating a just, progressive and harmonious society. Few questions MCQ have been given, and there are few brief questions